apologize at the start of this video. I've got a bit of a cold, so you might hear some coughing. But we have the drag car in here, and I have pretty much this afternoon to get everything done that requires a lift, because I have a car getting dropped off for some work tomorrow that is going to be on the lift for like a week. So I'm going to strip everything down. We're going to drain the fluids out first. The gas, I should say the ethanol, has already been drained out of it, so that's already taken care of. So we're going to drain the rest of the fluids out, and then we're going to strip everything out of here, put it over there. Interior stuff can wait, but stuff like the fuel line that goes under the car, we got to get out. So everything that's required for the lift needs to get done. So we're going to start from under the car and then work our way up, because that way if we run out of time for some reason, we can at least put the car down on the ground, push it over there, and finish taking everything out there. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do the control arm and knuckles swap to the other car. I might just have to, put the front ends of both of them up on jack stands and undo the control arms and just do it that way. It will suck on the ground, but it is what it is. So let's get started. All right, so we get the axles ready to come out. Gear oil's draining, engine oil's already been drained, draining the water out. Spilled some, but it's just water. So as soon as the gear oil's done draining, we can actually pull the axles out. I had the fuel lines disconnected up top. So now we gotta go under here and pull the fuel lines out. It's just gonna be fuel in there, so I gotta catch that. Because you can't empty out the lines completely. And then lower torque mount. And that should be everything under the engine. Don't have to worry about AC or any of that, which is nice. So, while that's still draining, I'm gonna need that container for when I take the fuel line off. I'm gonna start taking stuff off here. I just took off the lower radiator support. I didn't realize how heavy those were. I was going to keep that because it's where the battery was mounted to, but I think I might on the other car, which is the plate for the battery, because that thing's a good 10 pounds. That thing's heavy, and we don't need it. So see ya. All right, fuel lines are off. Everything under the car is disconnected, which means this engine is pretty much ready to come out. Just got to take the stuff off from the top, but if I run out of time, this means I can put this on its wheels and roll it. So I'm gonna lower it back down and get going. All right, so everything is disconnected. Wiring harness is off. I took the up pipe off just so I didn't have to take the O2 sensor out for now. The only thing left connected is the clutch line, which I need to plug that off before I take it off. And then this is ready to come out. Not bad for less than an hour. So, yeah, now we got to pull it off. I don't know what I'm gonna do about, I've been sitting here thinking while I've been doing this. This subframe is in really good shape, especially compared to the other one, because it had been replaced at some point on this car for some reason. So I'm just torn about not using it because it's better than the other one. I'm torn. My issue is if I take the subframe out of this, I don't want to have to put the other one in it just because it's unnecessary amounts of work, but then I won't be able to move this chassis around, because I do not plan on scrapping this chassis until I get the other car up and running, so that I don't need to take anything off of this one. So if I can figure out a way to move this, I have dollies to put on it, which is fine on, the concrete and the asphalt, but I'm going to store it. It's going to be over here on this, and this stuff is not rock hard, so the dollies would not like it. So I got to think about that. I think for now, maybe I'll put it on the dollies and just push it outside. I don't know. I gotta think about that. But this engine's ready to come out. So now that that's out, we can deal with getting everything else out of the car. That's the big one. I gotta take the transmission off, change the clutch anyway. So that'll stay on the engine stand as long as it needs to get that swapped out. But now is when I need to make up my mind with what I'm doing with the subframe. Because it's on the lift, which will make it really easy to pop it out. And I'm torn. I'm gonna sit on this for a little bit, take a little break, and think about this and come back to it. So sat with it for a little bit. I'm gonna take the subframe out. And then what I'm gonna do is my parking space for my car. So my cube, we will just pull the cube out of there, and I'll just have to figure out some parking. This car is supposed to be leaving soon, so pull my car out, and then I can just hook the engine hoist up to the front of the car to just lift it up and get it out there without having to use any dollies or anything like that, and then just drop it down onto some blocks so it doesn't sink into the ground. And then the chassis is there if I need it, and I can get the subframe out. I think that's what we're gonna do. These control arms need to get replaced. They're very old. These are the first box control arms we made 6 years ago. Maybe a little longer than that, maybe 7 years ago. The bushings are junk, actually. If you watch the last dyno video, you can see the front wheels moving quite a bit. So those are gonna get replaced. So I still have to take a bunch of stuff apart, but I want this subframe. The subframe's in very good shape. It has the inserts in it already. It's got the RS sway bar on it. Not that we need that for drag racing, but we do plan on taking this to a different kind of racing, but that's for a conversation for another day. So yeah, I'm gonna take this subframe out. I want this subframe. So to do that, all I have left to do is disconnect the steering shaft to the inside of the car, just one 16mm bolt, and then undo the bolts that hold this in and drop the sucker right out. Yeah. And then by doing that, when I go to put this on a trailer to scrap the shell, I can take these coilovers out. The coilovers aren't bad. They're just not what I want. The lack of adjustability on them is just, I'm just not a fan of it. So what I'll probably end up doing is just take the coilover out with the subframe, all as one big unit, and shove it off to the side. The other car has stainless steel braided brake lines, so we don't need the brake lines or anything like that. And then the coilovers in the back, when I get it up on the trailer, I'll just lift the whole back of the car up and just take those coilovers out. So, because this is gonna get even lighter of it as a shell, so the fenders have to come off because I need them for the V2 front end. I'm gonna use the doors because they're just in better shape than the other car. I'm gonna try to get this glass out in one piece because it's basically brand new glass, and the other car needs glass. Something's going on. So the shell's gonna get really, really light. So, well, I guess my mind's been made up for me. So went to pull that bolt out, and the little nutsert inside the chassis broke free. So now it's just respinning. So that's fun. So subframe staying in. I'm not dealing with that. That's a lot of cutting to get that out. So, okay. Well, it's been a couple hours since the last clip. We got this off the lift and pushed back a little bit. I had business stuff to do, phone calls and emails and the such. So, the day is actually coming to an end. So what I think I'm going to do is take everything that I took out, put it into the new shell, just put it over there, and get this over into that bay and pick away at a couple more things in here, and then get this engine and transmission moved over there as well, so that the car that shows up tomorrow has room for the lift. But I mean, it was only like an hour or so, but pretty productive, especially since this is just a in the spare time kind of deal. So I'm hoping that I don't have a lot of spare time coming up with the next 2 jobs I have, but I'm hoping I can have this thing running by the end of the month. All right, so we're over here in the other bay. I just got the wiring harness shoved back through the firewall, and I pulled all the vacuum lines and everything like that. The fuel stuff is out on the table. Ready for this. This is gonna stress me out. There's wires everywhere. So all that I have left to do in here, I gotta take this trans mount out, so I'm gonna reuse that, and then we're swapping the brake master cylinder over to the other car. So once I get it detached from the brake pedal, this can come out. And then that's pretty much it for under here. These can't come out until the intercooler comes out. So tomorrow, if I have time, after I get started on the next car, I will start on gutting the interior, which shouldn't take long. There's actually, looks like a mess. There's actually not a lot in here. So I'll take the seat out, give myself some room and get in there. I do got to get the shift linkages out. I can't forget to do that. I do need those. But pull the dash out, steering wheel, all that stuff, wiring, get it all laid out. And then I got to get the intercooler and the tank out. And the fuel pump needs to come out. And that's pretty much it. Fenders and doors, body stuff, we'll wait on doing that. Just because I don't need that stuff to get the other car started to be put back together. I'll do that right before I'm going to scrap this chassis, just in case something happens while I'm working on the other one. I don't damage perfectly good body panels. With that being said, if anybody has a V2 fender for the passenger side that is black, I'm interested. I don't really care what it looks like, but it bothers the hell out of me that this one looks different. So if anybody's got a V2 black fender, even if it's not the right shade of black, but just a black one, please let me know. I'm interested in that. And if anybody in New England has a spare hood laying around, let me know too, because the hoods I was going to use are junk. I found some rot on them, so that's not going to work. All right, we got the dash out and all of the wiring. So this is the actual engine control stuff. And then that's our power distribution stuff over there. It's a bit of a mess. I'm not a fan of how that came out because it's supposed to be really easy to take out and it wasn't. So the next thing we need to do is get the intercooler out and the steering system, which this is really easy. It's 4 bolts, which is when I already loosened up 4 bolts. And then I already took that 16 out, pop that off. This all comes out, that's done. And then the shifter's gotta come out with the linkages. And then the tank underneath all of this has to come out too, but I'll wait till I get everything else out because there's water and everything. So, strip this down a lot faster than I thought I was gonna. I'm really close to just throwing the shell out there and pulling in the other one and starting to figure out where I'm gonna put stuff. I got the intercooler out. When I designed the tank for the intercooler under here, this monstrosity and the pump, I didn't ever think about how I'm gonna drain it, which is a problem because it's full. So I gotta figure that out. We're just gonna pump it out, or as much as I can. All right, tank is out, which is over there. So shifter, seat, and then the fuel canister, and then that's pretty much it. Which the fuel canister I'm going to leave in until I'm ready to swap it into the other car, just so that this thing doesn't fill with fuel vapor. So, I got to get these pipes out of here. Not that I'm going to be using them, but you know, I might need the couplers or the material that's on them. So I got to get those out. But I'm thinking this thing is now going to go outside, and we're going to pull the other car in. And I think we're already ready to start putting that together. I got to change the clutch out on this though before we do that, because I want to just sit this in the engine bay so that it's not just flopping around.